Welcome to Business Masters Season 2. This is the show where we dive into transformative conversations with the minds shaping our economy. And today we're honored to be joined by one of India's most influential digital entrepreneurs, Dilip Modi. He is the chairman of DigiSpice Technologies and the founder and CEO of Spice Money, one of India's largest rural fintech platforms. With a career spanning over 2 decades, Mr. Modi has pioneered innovation across telecom, mobility, and digital financial services. He has served as the youngest ever president of ASSOCHAM and chairman of COAI and continues to mentor the next wave of startups building for India. Thank you so much for joining us, Dilip.
Thank you for having me, Hem.
Now, of course, we want to begin by talking about your journey and your career. People really want to know what it takes to run a business and sustain one. So, you've spent your career bridging the gap between technology and the grassroots. What initially drew you to this path?
Well, Hem, my entrepreneurship journey actually started with mobile telecommunications. We partnered with Telstra to build India's first mobile network in the city of Kolkata way back in 1995, followed by the first mobile network in state of Punjab, and then the state of Karnataka. So when we were building those mobile networks and rolling out towers in deep semi-urban and rural India, the impact that mobile connectivity had to people living in deep rural India in terms of basically connecting them to the world was something really, an amazing experience that I went through. And that really showed me the power about 20 years back of what technology can have on consumers living in deep rural India. So that's stayed with me over the years.
All right. And from, as you mentioned, from launching India's first mobile VS business to now leading one of the country's largest rural fintech platforms, how would you say your entrepreneurial instinct has evolved over the years?
It's evolved a lot. I think being able to understand whether you're chasing a big problem or a small problem, and therefore how to organize yourself to do that. Also, when you start building solutions, knowing that what's working, what's not working, making sure you solve for unit economics, that's also something that you experience. And I guess just looking at data in a very insightful manner and being able to learn to kind of extract the signals from the noise is something that's really, and finally I would say just reading people. I think, as you build teams, I think that's a big instinct that I guess has grown with me over the years.
Right, and talking of people, we were just discussing this as well. Spice Money has scaled to over 1.5 million adhikaris. Was there a defining moment when you knew this model would not just work, it was actually going to transform rural banking?
Yes. So let me explain a bit, because when you say 1.5 million adhikaris, these are actually small shopkeepers living in deep rural India. So we are present in 250,000 villages, 6,000 small towns, 19,000 pin codes. So what we have done is created a platform for small entrepreneurs, who run small shops in small towns. The reason we are referring to them as adhikaris, because adhikar is about giving people their rights. And what we believe is that, today we want to give people, 1 billion people living in deep rural India, access to their rights to finance and to their bank, to formal financial sector. So what we've done is we've onboarded nearly 1.5 million small businesses, small business operators, small shopkeepers in small towns to serve 1 billion customers around them and really enable them to begin with, to start with basic banking needs of cash withdrawal and cash deposit, followed by being able to give them access to formal financial products like loans, savings, investments, and insurance. So, riding on the digital public infrastructure of the government of India and the penetration of affordable smartphones and low data tariffs, we are leveraging the small merchant ecosystem to be able to get banking as close to the customer's doorstep in rural India as much as possible. So that's what we are driving through Spice Money.
I was actually very excited for you to explain that to our viewers as well as you did to me before this. Now, you often emphasize empowerment over access. And now, what ways does Spice Money go beyond infrastructure to spark real livelihood change in rural households?
So, one of the first big problems that we are solving for is being able to give people access to their bank account. So over the last, I would say nearly like about a decade or so, we've opened nearly 550 million Jan Dhan bank accounts. These are zero balance bank accounts, which I think has been the largest scheme globally run by any government. And this has been part of the trinity of Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, which is every citizen of India should have a bank account, every citizen of India should have a biometric identity, and every citizen of India should have a mobile connection. And the combination of this is what is driving the digital economy in our country. And of course, there's UPI that has come in on the back of it. So when we talk about empowerment and access, what access to banking is enabling rural households to be able to get is to be discovered by banks and financial service providers online, because a lot of the data that they have was still offline, but when they start transacting on platforms like ours, the data becomes online, their payments data and all of that. Using that data, they're able to get access to formal loans, which are cheaper than what sometimes they get from local money lenders. Also access to formal savings, investments and insurance products, which helps them significantly in terms of save and grow their money. So it gives them that sense of empowerment and a sense of independence that can help them grow their income, which benefits not only them, but their family at large.
Right, and what are some on-ground insights that have surprised or perhaps shifted your assumptions about tech adoption in general?
Well, one of the things that pleasantly surprised us is the speed and the scale with which smartphones are being used now in deep rural India. Now we're getting to close to 1 billion smartphone users in the country. The ease with which people are now beginning to use these smartphones in multiple ways. Of course, being the lowest data tariffs in the world has helped us. 5G is now reaching villages of India, small towns of India. So basically, just the adoption of use of smartphones to run multiple apps, and the ease with which people have begun to do it both for personal as well as business consumption is something that we're very happy about and very excited, and we're building on the back of it.
All right, and as someone who helped shape India's telecom growth, how do you compare that wave of transformation to what's happening now in rural fintech?
Well, things have changed a lot. Two big trends, I would say, is one is the adoption of the digital public infrastructure, which is UPI, ULI now, and AEPS, Aadhaar-enabled payment system. So, we are one of the only economies in the world where public and private sectors working together to build a digital economy, which is now going to become the largest in the world. And the digital public infrastructure, unlike many other global economies, is available to all entrepreneurs to build on the back of. And I think that's a big thing that's changed since 2 decades back. And the second thing is really, affordability, right? So lowest data tariffs in the world, highest data traffic in the world, and affordable smartphones, with a lot more power and capability. So I think today, fintech entrepreneurs have a lot more as a foundation available to them than what perhaps the early telecom entrepreneurs had.
That is true. Now, with increasing attention to Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets, how do you ensure that Spice Money continues to lead in innovation?
Well, we are very much keeping the customer at the center of every innovation that we do. So one of the things that, for example, I can talk about innovation is face authentication. Today, many of us are used to Digi Yatra, where we go through airports and we are able to, seamlessly move through immigration using face scan. It's so exciting to see how face authentication is being used by people in small towns in rural India to be able to withdraw money from their bank account. This has been a great innovation from UIDI, which is our Aadhaar authentication agency in India, and we at Spice Money are riding this innovation and many such going forward.
All right, and when it comes to business, what metrics matter the most to you today? Scale, speed, trust, is it something else?
All three are key metrics, especially when you talk about fintech. For tech, speed is important and scale helps you bring down cost of economics. And when you think about financial services, trust is very important. But I would really put two more metrics that we track at Spice Money. One is customer engagement. How much are our adhikaris using our platform every day, how many times a day? And the second is customer income. How much of our platform is being used by adhikaris to grow their income? And also, as we provide more and more products to households, how is it helping them grow their income? So customer engagement and customer income growth are two key metrics that we drive most of our decisions at Spice Money.
All right. Now, we want to talk about your leadership style and your vision as well. You come from a legacy business family, but you've carved a very modern, impact-led path for yourself. How do you balance inherited wisdom with personal reinvention?
Well, I think I'm blessed with the fact that both my father and my grandfather, built impactful businesses on the ground. Given the times in which they were building businesses, both of them were at their forefront of innovation. My grandfather built one of the biggest townships in India and one of the biggest manufacturing groups in the country, and my father brought in photocopying, computing, telecommunications to India. So both of them are great innovators. So coming from that legacy, it kind of just stays with you in terms of how you can use innovation as a way to change and improve lives. And then when you're staying with the space of innovation and technology, you constantly have to be with a learning mindset. Right. And now with everything technology is touching, I think just the amount of information that's available out there, you keep yourself updated a lot to keep yourself, in with changing times and really, stay tuned with how things are moving. Of course, things are moving much faster than we believe they are. So yeah, so for me, I feel truly blessed with the wisdom that I've earned over the years with the legacy that I come from.
All right, and you've launched, you've scaled, exited and pivoted across multiple ventures as well. What is your internal compass when it comes to deciding when to build, when to double down, when to perhaps leave?
So when to build is basically when you see a problem that's not solved and you can think about a minimum viable product to start to test whether you can solve for it. When to scale is really when the product market fit works, right? Before even economics, but economics are important when you try and scale. And I come from a mindset where economics and product market fit need to go together, but product market fit first. Building a solution which gets customer traction, gets customer engagement, that's when you start thinking about scale. But the moment you crack the unit economics challenge, that's when you really scale enough. When to leave? Well, I would say in telecom, we decided to leave when we realized that the market was consolidated. We were the #1 player in our region, but the economics changed when they became national players, and regional players were to get consolidated by national players. And so we realized that we would not be able to offer the customers products at the price points that someone with a larger scale would be able to do it. So at that time, we decided that it's better to merge or have the business be taken over by an entity which is able to build on the scale and therefore the unit economics and be able to solve for. So when to leave is as important as when to build.
Right. And leading a rural first tech company, of course, I'm assuming it requires empathy, adaptability and long-term thinking as well. How do you cultivate those traits in your leadership?
So I think it's about spending a lot of time with the constituency, right? Because rural India is changing very fast, but if you don't embed yourself in there, if you don't spend time, meeting the small businesses that are mushrooming across so many small towns in India, you really don't connect. And so being able to, and when you spend time there, you definitely gain a lot of what you just said, empathy, humility, and all of that. So I would say that a lot of this comes from really embedding yourself within the customer base and the constituency that you serve.
All right, and coming back to just what we were discussing before this, could you share an instance of failure that ultimately perhaps led to a new direction, maybe new insight? Well,
after we exited our mobile network business, we started a mobile hardware business, which was really bringing dual SIM mobile phones to India. Which is now everywhere, but in 2005 it was just starting, and that was a business that we could not build. We ultimately had to shut down the business, so we could call it a failure. I think the learnings that I had through that business was one, need to focus. We tried to grow too fast, too big too fast. We were running our business in India, and then suddenly we developed aspirations to grow regionally and globally. And while the business in India was still kind of at an early stage, we went and did acquisitions outside India, in Southeast Asia. We ended up going to Africa. So we built business plans that will be X billion dollars in 5 years, 4 years, kind of a thing. So it kind of removed the focus of what's happening in India. Right. So I think that was a big learning about focus. And the second big one I would say is just trying to leap too much, too fast, rather than building on adjacencies. Okay. And I think, so to me, that was the second big learning from the failure that we had in our hardware business.
That's really insightful as well. Now, of course, as you mentioned, many entrepreneurs would chase funding, and I'm assuming you would chase impact. How do you align business models with purpose, especially in VC-influenced ecosystems?
Yes. So, well, funding is essential if you want to create impact.
Right.
Because without money, you're not able to invest. But I think, one of the things that, I talk to a lot of startup entrepreneurs, and I've started talking to them about a new definition of the word unicorn. Right? So everyone says we want to become a unicorn, which has really become a $1 billion valuation business. And I think, operating in India, especially in spaces like fintech, I think that there's an opportunity to build businesses at scale. So one of the definitions that we started propagating among a lot of startup entrepreneurs is, don't think of just becoming a unicorn when you hit a $1 billion valuation, but start thinking about becoming a unicorn when you build a product that can serve 1 billion people. And I think, to me, if you combine the two, you've combined impact and profit.
All right. And how do you protect boldness, as you mentioned earlier, in your teams while also ensuring clarity, feasibility? You were talking about focus. So how does that happen?
Yes. Well, when you get clarity, when you get focus, the unknown becomes known. And so the fear of the unknown goes. So you become bold. So really investing in really understanding that what you're trying to solve, is it worth solving? And do you have a worthy solution to solve for it? Do you understand it enough? Do you understand it deeply? Once you do that, the fear goes away and the boldness really shines.
All right. And you've been at the helm of industry bodies like ASSOCHAM and COAI. What do most founders misunderstand about the role of policy and industry collaboration?
Well, one thing I would say is that, I worked at both the COI, which is the Cellular Operators Association of India, which was an industry-specific association, as well as ASSOCHAM, which was more a broad-based national chamber, which works across sectors. And one of the things that I realized is that the governments really want to serve. Policy is truly meant to serve. And I think, some of the things sitting outside when I was not part of those policy deliberations, I would have always imagined that, it's really the private sector that's interested to build good policy. But I think really my experience has been that we have really future-looking, even the bureaucracy, the governments of various times have really come together to solve for growth. And I think policy making is really a joint program of public, private sector working together. And, while we sometimes worry that, how would people look at things, I think governments at large, and especially in our country, are really wanting to solve for the common man. And I saw that in all the policy work we did on the new telecom policy and all of that. So really working with government is not that difficult. It's actually, if you again keep the common man at the center, we're both chasing the same dream.
I'm sure that will inspire a lot of confidence for a lot of our younger viewers as well. Let's just go back to the question of legacy. What does legacy mean for you today?
I think it means an opportunity to build for the long term. It means an opportunity to build an institution which becomes a national asset. It means an opportunity to really bring everything that you've imbibed over the years, tangible and intangible, to really build something that lasts beyond you.
All right, we've talked business enough now. Let's just get to know you a little more, your personal interests, how you balance work-life. We'll talk about work-life balance as well, something that's been a very big topic of discussion. You're building for a market that demands energy, patience, cultural fluency. So how do you personally recover and recharge to sustain that intensity?
Well, with making sure that I have me time, right? So me time is very important, and I try and do that in every morning. That try and give that me time to myself, so I can start the day with focus, and therefore I have a kind of a morning routine that I generally follow. A bit of reading, a bit of exercise, and a bit of meditation is a combination of things which helps me just stay centered, making sure that I plan my day before the day starts, and reflect on the day when the day closes. And I think it just helps me to start the day with a sense of, this is what I'm going to try and do today. And at the end of the day, I kind of reflect back saying, did it work, not work, and what is it that I carry forward every day? So I guess just a sense of awareness through the day. And that happens when you start the day with a sense of awareness. So that's how I try and keep myself centered.
So me time is very important.
Me time.
All right. And what's one passion outside of work that brings you joy, clarity, something that fuels your leadership indirectly?
And this is something which may surprise you, but actually, Over the last 10 years, I've developed a great passion for the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
And, I've been a student of the Bhagavad Gita, and I tell you, nothing gives me more joy than the 30 minutes in the morning that I spend, reading, or the 1 hour a week I spend with my teacher studying this. And it not only gives me a lot of joy, a lot of sense of bliss, it gives me a lot of clarity. So I would say that is the 30 minutes of the day, that is the time that I really, really look forward to. And, it's really shaped my thinking, especially over the last 10 years.
All right. And you've studied abroad, you've led global businesses, yet you've chosen to root your work deeply in India. We've talked about this. What has that duality taught you?
I think it's kind of taught me a bit about what your channel stands for. The world is one, and I think what, people are the same everywhere, and I would say there is no duality. There's kind of everything is the same. Everyone's chasing the same thing, and I guess to me that's what's amazed me, that you go to any part of the world, big towns, small towns, India, overseas, I would say everyone's chasing the same thing, which is to love and to serve and to be happy.
All right. And what's a moment, personal or professional, that humbled you and reminded you of what actually matters? I think we did touch on this, though.
Yes. Well, a lot of things. To me, the birth of my 2 kids, nothing more mattered to me more than seeing them become part of my life. I think, just when you're building things and things don't work out, we started building our telecom business thinking that we'll build it into a large long-term institution. Things didn't work out as much as we thought. We started our handset business. It didn't work out as much as we thought. And just shows you that, it's really not, and people say life is a journey, not a you're not chasing a destination. It's about being the journey. And I think over the years, as you've moved forward and you've seen things happen personally, professionally, I think that sense of gratitude, has kind of just risen more and more, in the sense of, oh my God, I'm getting the opportunity to be part of something so amazing, and just to get up every morning and breathe well and be around people you love is something that truly keeps you feeling so grateful all the time.
All right. And apart from being a student of the Bhagavad Gita, what is something else that's helped you stay grounded amid all the media attention, the metrics, the scaling, all of that?
I think my spouse. I think my wife, she's my biggest critique, and she makes sure that every time I come back thinking, yeah, I've achieved this, she tells me, calm down, just take it easy. You're still at ground zero. So she brings me to ground every time I try and think that I'm doing something which is because of me. So she keeps me grounded.
All right. Always have to be grateful for some reality
yes.
check. Now, let's just talk about young professionals who are perhaps looking at you for inspiration. For those looking to build for the country, what is the one mindset shift that they must make before they even write their first line of code?
I think, I would say that, really try and be very clear that when you're building something, who are you building for? I think that's very important. Sometimes what happens is we see things working out and we try and join the bandwagon, as they say, but really don't worry about. See, one of the big things about India is 1.4 billion people. So even if you pick a small segment, it's not small. It's millions of customers.
Right.
So I would say that really be very clear about who are you trying to serve, what are you trying to solve, and rather than worry about what someone else is doing, find your niche and really focus on that.
Right, it's really interesting that you say that, because I want to ask you this as well. Young professionals learn to identify real needs. How can they do that, not just market trends in their problem solving? So how can they identify and really zero in?
Yes, so like I said, what we do at Spice Money, embed yourself within your customer constituency, spend time with them. There's this word called ethnography, right? Just observe, what is it that you're trying to solve for, and really, own that problem. And kind of live with it 24/7. So, as you start thinking around it, then you're not worried about what others are building.
Right.
It's really focusing on the problem that the customer is facing and the solution that I'm going to build, or am I building, and as I'm iterating, Is it helping solve for what I was trying to solve for? So I think that focus is very important.
So you really need to live it to be able to understand what you're solving.
You have to live it.
Right. And what's the most overlooked skill in early stage entrepreneurs, especially perhaps in fintech or the mobility space that you've observed?
I would say it's not just fintech. I would say just in general, when you build business, I think humility, I would say, is a big skill. You have to remind yourself that you don't have all the answers. Even if you start seeing your business scale, there'll be lots of challenges coming along the way. Keeping yourself grounded, I think I would say it's a skill. I would say it's important to develop that sense of constant ability to know that when people say, oh my God, you've built a great company, know that it's not you but through you, and therefore really stay grounded, stay humble, and keep building.
All right. And if you had to build a team from scratch today, what 3 non-negotiables would you look for in your first 5 hires?
Humility, passion, and a true sense of belief on wanting to make a difference and solve for something at scale.
All right, Dilip, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an insightful conversation.
Thank you, Hem. Thank you for having me here. I really learned a lot myself by just listening to myself as well. Thank you so much.
I've learned so much by talking to you as well.
Yes, thank you.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Business Masters. Tune in again for more such insightful conversations.